Alright, give it just a second. Alrighty, hello, and welcome to another Toonkind at 12 frames per second. This is part 2 of Whirl and I going absolutely fucking feral. I'm Babble, one of your violent siblings for today, and dear Jesus fucking Christ, I sound like a radio host. Anyways, I'm playing my old fox, Gibbs, today. And I'm joined by the wonderful, the absolutely beloved, one of my beloved violent siblings whom I adore to the ends of the earth and back and all the way around to space past Jupiter, well, past Pluto. I consider Pluto a planet, fuck you. And all the way back, several times over.
Oh, goodness.
Whirl, beloved.
Hi. I'm Rowan Gale. Or Gale, or Whirl. Call me Gale. Calling me Whirl gets me mixed up with Whis a lot. Anyway, hi, I am your other violent sibling here for the day, and welcome back to part 2 of our double feature.
God, we are disaster gremlins who have been left in a voice chat for over an hour, basically.
We've been left unsupervised. We were left unsupervised before, and we are even more unsupervised now.
And we're
We've been
even more
here.
disasters, and it's great.
We've been here. We already did 1 FPS. We're doing another. And we've been left unsupervised. So, Babble, I bat my eyelashes at you. Where are we?
God, well, currently, Gibbs, my darling dumbass fox, is probably just kind of vibing in the manor. In Halloween Town Manor. For those of you who don't know, in between the last FPS between Whirl and I and this one, Gibbs got basically picked up off the side of the road by Jacques and Asclepius. In a very kind of loose and shitposty way of explaining what happened. If you want more context, I forget the name of the FPS, but go listen to that one.
Very specific. I don't know the name of it, but go listen to that FPS.
Yup.
If I remember right, that should be on RJ's channel, probably.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah, because if I remember correctly, my recording ate shit, because of course it did.
Discord hates our recording software.
Honestly, Discord and my internet just hates Gibbs. Like, this is the second FPS thus far where it hasn't borked when I've played Gibbs. But yeah, no, at the moment he's chilling inside the spooky manor. Or, well, it's officially called the Macabre Manor.
It's Spooky Manor.
This is Spooky Manor. Yeah, he is just vibing at the moment.
This is the place where the spooks live. Well, where exactly is he vibing? Is he just like chilling on a couch somewhere or something?
That is an excellent question. I mean, I don't think anybody else is currently at home besides Kara, of course, and I know that Jacques is more than likely hanging around in the town, but probably, for the sake of this, probably not inside the manor. Give me just a moment to decide, because he wouldn't go in the garden unless Asclepius was here, and he's not here, so...
He can't be here. We can't have Gibbs able to have access to someone with impulse control.
Oh, God. Gibbs will not go into the garden without Asclepius being there first. Because that is Asclepius' garden, and there's dangerous shit, and he has been told that there is dangerous shit, and he is going to be respectful. But that being said, my guess is that he is probably in the cupboard, given the D3 that I just rolled.
Incredible. Well, Gibbs, where you are kinda just chilling in the cupboard for some reason.
Listen, the cupboard in the kitchen is his favorite place to, like, nap, man.
Oh, while he's chilling in the cupboard, there is a sound in the back of his mind and a sensation in the back of his mind that's familiar, but it's been a while.
It has been a while. Give me just a moment. I'm gonna roll him an intelligence, and I unfortunately have to make this at a disadvantage. Well, actually, I'm not gonna make this at a disadvantage. Alright, that's a 12. That's good. That's good. He's somewhat remembering. He knows who this is supposed to be. I'm going to make a whiz save at disadvantage. That's a 14. That's not bad.
Mm-hmm.
The DC for this was 15 though, so like he's not having the worst time, not having a great time. He's confused. His head perks up because it indeed has been a fucking while.
Been a hot minute.
Been a hot minute, and he was pretty damn certain of something else. This should not be a thing, but you know what? It's been a weird day for him. Nothing weird has happened in a long time, and as far as he knows, this entire time with the spookies has just been a really weird one long day. So I think out of habit, he just kind of answers it, but it's different than how he usually answers it. He doesn't think it's real.
the response on the other end of the connection, on the other end of the door, is almost exactly the same as he remembers. Just there is suddenly a bright and enthusiastic and cheerful presence in his mind.
Alright. Awesome. Love that. That's a 3. Alright. Yeah, no, he definitely does not think this is real at all. But he's gonna go along with it like it is.
Well, there's basically the mental sensation of greeting, very similar to when these two first met. Of just a cheerful greeting. Hello, it's me!
It takes him a little bit longer to respond, but like he also gives that kind of familiar, more energetic than he can give off physically, with his physical body and voice, of a greeting, you know. Hi. What's up?
And there's basically the mental sensation of excitement, and there is apology there because she knows she went quiet for a long while. But there's excitement, there's a slight amount of apology, there's happy to hear from you, happy to hear you're okay, and then very distinctly, I want to show you something.
God, I don't think he knows how to respond to everything. He especially doesn't seem to know how to respond to the apologies, because, again, I gesture at that 3. He's not entirely certain that this is real. He honestly doesn't believe that it is real, so he's just going along with it.
Mm-hmm.
But he's like, all right, where do I just get up and walk? I don't. What are we doing?
And there's sort of a blink of surprise, and then does Gibbs know Halloween Town well enough to navigate, do you think?
God, no. No. No.
Hmm.
This man is only just now figuring out that there's more than just his usual route to take in the manor.
Okay, so there is sort of a, like, of thought for a moment, and then sort of a, where are you?
Um, there's a second of thought as he's trying to think of what it's called, but you do probably get the little flashing images of uh the dark mahogany that is the paneling of the walls, from what I remember RJ describing the walls of Macabre Manor, and the pretty either hardwood or tile flooring, depending on where you are in the manor,
Mm-hmm.
or
And
actually marble. But
there's a surprised, God, the best way I can describe it is like a surprised chirp of excitement, and then sort of a mental image of basically Macabre Manor seen from afar in sort of a questioning tone.
uh yeah, it it is also a questioning response of confirmation because he's not sure it's seemingly what it's actually called, but he does like let slip the images, the very familiar to him seemingly images of uh Jacques and Asclepius.
And that gets sort of, again, none of this is said out loud, none of this is verbal, but you do get like the mental impression of excited, happy clapping because, oh, I know where you are. Okay. And then just directions.
You do get the image of the inside of a fucking cupboard in a kitchen. Um, and what looks like his paw reaching out from his vision as he opens the door to the Macabre Manor kitchen. Uh, basically, he's trying to say, like, I need to navigate out of this place first. Out of the manor.
Survival?
Basically, he's just like, oh god, give me a minute, I need to get out of here. I love this so much. Survival to get out of the manor. It's a 13.
I think that
Uh,
should probably be enough.
I I think so. I don't think after like this long, Kara would really choose to be. I don't think Kara would pick on him very much. But then again, I also am
Mm-hmm.
not RJ, so I don't know.
Maybe Kara's just not feeling particularly mischievous today.
Probably.
Um,
God.
so you do find your way out of the house, and then from there, Lethe basically guides Gibbs shot for shot, um, from the manor to the junkyard, through the junkyard, out back, over a set of old train tracks, and into the woods.
There's a joking kind of like axe going down, and like what can be assumed to be fake blood off like to the side. of like, what are you doing, leading me to my death?
And there's a bit of a
It's a
laugh in
joke.
there's a laugh in response and a very like cartoonish mental image of, the serial killer in the hockey mask. Again, very clearly joking.
Oh god. There's Oh, this is actually really cute. There's like what seems like a burst of stars and lemons. And it's amusement. Like stars and kind of frozen lemons and snowflakes.
Aw, bless.
And it kind of looks like, that fruit game, Fruit Ninja.
Fruit Ninja?
It kind of looks like
Yes.
that kind of explosion of those things.
Incredible. Can't believe Gibbs's echo laughter is fucking Fruit Ninja.
Fruit Ninja, but with like really frozen lemons and ice and stars and moons and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, as he doesn't laugh out loud, but like there is a kind of to him, verbally. Like I said, his echo seems to be a lot more enthusiastic than like he's able to actually portray.
Mm-hmm. Roll insight real quick.
I love that. I love his insight nowadays. It's just flat fucking d20. Which is an improvement! It's better than the -3 that it was.
Yeah, so there's something interesting about Lethe's echo now that's different than what you remember. Her echo is very vivid now. It used to be, it was very clearly that she was fluent, but now it is vivid and very detailed when she speaks in echo, which is interesting. You don't know where that comes from, but I digress. Um, Roll me perception, because I think you've been walking in the woods long enough.
Again, it's just another flat d20.
That's a 3.
You
That's a 3, Gibbs.
know what? In the past, it would have been a 0. So I'll take it.
It's a fucking 3, I love it. Ah. Yeah, Gibbs, you're walking in the woods. You sure do be, and then you kind of walk into a clearing area, uh, and you are immediately distracted because there is a pond full of ducks.
Yes, honestly, yes. He goes over immediately to that pond of ducks, and he is absolutely sending Lethe images of these ducks. Um, and he even picks one up because it's a baby duck. Look at how fucking cute this shit is.
The duck quacks.
He is holding it impossibly gentle for someone who has such like. God, the last time you remember him, his hands were ice. They look like they are fluffy as fuck now.
This little duckling just sinks into the fluff.
Are you going to kidnap this duckling? Oh my god. He is tucking this duckling into his vest, and there is now just an image of this duckling kind of tucked in between the metal bit of his chest that you didn't know that he had.
The duckling, meanwhile, just snuggles down.
his vest! And hey, there's a fuck ton of fur and metal! What the fuck?
Does Gibbs look up at all?
He will.
Because Lethe is just giving. God, her echo laughter, it looks like basically fireworks of fairy dust, and it sounds like, you know, the ringing of bells and music boxes and clockwork. Just delighted laughter, and then there's just the impression, hey, look up.
I'm gonna say, for context for everybody at home, this duckling did not have parents. It was just kind of vibing on its own.
Yeah.
He has adopted an abandoned duckling. That's his baby now.
Can't believe we gave Gibbs a pet this FPS.
Well, you know what? It'd be like that when you roll a 3 in perception. Um.
That moment when you roll a 3 in perception and you get a pet duck.
But he does look up when the cue is given because he's just like that.
Gibbs, you are looking at the broadside of a fucking barn.
He looks down at the duck and in echo, he's he's still talking to Lethe, but he's also talking to the duck as if the duck can understand. Maybe we'll find your parents in there. There is kind of like that underlying, I hope we don't find your parents. I like you.
He's kind of again that fireworks of fairy dust and all the happy clockwork sounds from Lethe, and then just a mental image that basically translates to no ducks in here, only crows. Also, hi.
Damn, I don't think. I think with his voice, once he gets in, he's just like, damn, I don't think a pair of crows can raise this. Can raise a duckling.
It wouldn't. There's not even a pair of crows in here. There's just me. Hi.
Hi.
And Lethe is standing there, in the middle of this. Wow. This place certainly is something. You can roll perception again if you'd like, or I can just tell you some shit.
I'm having fun with his perception.
King 3! You know, that honestly makes sense, because someone you thought was dead is standing right in front of you.
Yeah. Actually, let me see how he's fucking handling that.
Oh, honey.
That's another 3! Oh, God, buddy. Yeah, no, this is definitely not happening. This is definitely just. He is. This is definitely a dissociation on what he thinks. Ah. Fuck. So. Barn. How long you had this?
Yeah. Huh?
Uh, talking as Gibbs. Gibbs just kind of gestures to the barn, and he's like, the barn. How long have you had this?
Oh, I found it. I found it ages ago, actually, before I actually met you. But we got it up and running a couple months ago, before everything happened. And it's my workshop. Welcome.
Uh, what happened exactly?
Oh, I got kidnapped. It's fine. I walked into it.
Um, that doesn't seem fine.
It wasn't. I got poisoned for a while. But it's fine. I'm fine now. Everything's great. Uh, my dad and Mr. Craigery and Investigator Lynn Stagehand, they all helped get me out, and now I'm here. Also, hi, I didn't know you knew the mayor.
Uh, I kind of just wandered in here. I guess. Do you remember this, Gibbs? Do you remember this? I'm gonna give you advantage on this because Jesus fucking Christ, you've probably been talking with these two about it. That's 13. I'm gonna say that's a yes. You do remember this. I guess I didn't know this. I've been alive for about a decade now. Um,
Oh, wow.
yeah, I didn't realize this. Apparently, it's actually been over a decade by this point. But I've been looking for a spoon that I lost when I first got here, and I guess the dude that tormented me to make me lose my spoon in the first place was their ex-partner.
Ooh.
Yeah, I didn't. Like I told
I
them,
see.
same shit, different day. I'm not bothered by it. So, um, he kind of shrugs in that way that he tends to when he's just like, I don't fucking care.
And Lethe is just kind of she has like stood up from where she was working on what looks like a chair. It might be a chair. She was at the upholstery station, working on what looks like it was probably a chair. And now she's just kind of cheerfully circling around him because, oh, you look different. You got a redesign. You look really good. You're fluffy now. You're not frozen anymore.
I, I mean, I still got some ice. And he does kind of like knock on the window part of his chest, and you can see on the inside of that there is indeed it's frosted. The inside of the glass is very frosted, and if you touch that part, it's fucking freezing.
She's not going to touch without permission, but she does kind of lean in and look and say, "Oh, okay. So, hmm, is that a good thing or a bad thing?"
I don't know. You're asking the wrong person. I've not been whatever this is before.
Well, do you feel all right?
I feel fine, but then again, I've also been told that I shouldn't feel fine because apparently I'm broken to shit. To put it politely.
Uh, ooh, that's not good.
He
That's
just
not
kind of
good.
puts his hands in the air like, I don't know. He doesn't say that, but you can see it on his face because he's just like, fucking no. But I mean, I feel perfectly fine. And Lethe, you would already know Gibbs does not feel pain, so that doesn't really mean anything.
Hmm.
But he does continue. Uh, Actually, you want to roll insight before he says anything?
Absolutely. That's an 8.
That's a nat 1. Alright.
Could I argue advantage since they've been chatting for a while? But also, the nat one is funny.
He is perfectly normal. This is probably the most normal that he's been, sort of. I'll give you another chance later, but. God.
Hmm.
Well, I mean, honestly, I'll give you another chance directly after what I'm gonna say is him right now. And that will be with advantage, because this is very blatant. This is
Oh
very
dear.
blatant. Uh, he does look at her and say, I kind of, Uh, it, he's looking around for a moment. And for him, a moment is actually a relatively long time. Um,
Uh,
and then he
you
looks.
are certainly in a workshop.
Sure do be. Um, eventually, though, he does look back at Lethe and he's like, "So this is real, right? Is it? Cause I not gonna lie, kid. I'm pretty sure you're supposed to be dead. At least that's what I remember, and my memory's pretty fucked. But I remember singing.
You, you did. I remember that. And I'm not dead. I got very close there, apparently. But the person who had me didn't want me dead. They needed me for useful purposes. 1 second. Ah, that was
Bless you.
not in character. That was I had to sneeze.
I'm gently patting you.
I I'm not dead. And she will just kind of like step a bit closer and boop him on the nose. Very much not dead. The person who had me poisoned to keep me docile, but they didn't want me dead. So very much not dead. Also no longer inaccessible. Also, I have my earring back, or I have a version of it back. And she does tap her earring, and it's funny because it's a different shape now than it was before. When you first met Lethe, that earring was a red triangle. Now it is a red diamond shape.
Hmm.
Um, it almost looks like you know those dagger blades that are shaped like like a diamond. It almost looks like that. It looks very sharp.
Cool. Dope as fuck. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but he is just taking a moment to let that sink in, and the kind of slow head nod of somebody who's struggling with that. Not against it, but just like, all right, this is definitely a thing.
Hmm. Hmm. I'm going to have Lethe roll insight to see if the thing that she wants to do would be helpful slash okay. 22. Basically, what she wants to do is just hug the fox.
Uh,
Scoop.
with that 22, honestly, you could probably tell that he he would not give a shit.
Hmm. She's gonna do it then, just 'cause hug's important. And this is her friend, who she hasn't gotten to see since she got him off of a murder charge.
Yeah, this is the first time that they've actually laid eyes on each other for a long
Mm-hmm.
while.
Which, hey, that's something fun. Uh, her hands aren't flesh and blood anymore. That's interesting. Don't worry about that. Um,
I'm actually gonna
Gibbs,
roll to see if.
you are being scooped. You are now being hugged.
Right, that's an 11. He vaguely remembers that that's not normal, but he doesn't know exactly what's abnormal about it.
Mm-hmm. Gibbs has been scooped. He is in hug now.
He doesn't fight that. He is just like, uh, oh, hello. You okay?
Hi, I miss talking to you.
Uh, uh, and that just kind of draws out for a minute because he doesn't know how to respond verbally. Because oh god, verbal feelings. All right.
And there is just sort of an echo message in his head of affection and, again, sorry for letting you think I was dead. In my defense, I was poisoned.
It takes him a bit because he is indeed very slow to process shit. And Lethe, you're close enough to him that you can physically hear the inner workings of his brain essentially trying to do that. And it does
You go
indeed
tick tick
sound
burr.
pretty fucking busted, but it's still working for whatever that's worth.
Hmm. Lethe is going to use a little eensy weensy bit of magic on him. It's probably not gonna fucking do anything, but um there is sort of a shimmery feeling, almost like, sand dusting over his body, specifically over the top of his head as Lethe is using her persistence of memory ability in the restore function.
Uh,
It's probably been far, far too long before. It's probably been far too long since, um, you know, Gibbs's everything was not damaged for it to
yeah.
do any good, but she's trying, man.
There are probably a couple of little nuts and bolts that seem to audibly go back into place, but then they immediately seem to like fall back out of place.
Hmm.
Um, he himself does not seem to notice, and you are also getting a hug back.
Hmm. Bless.
Um, it takes him a bit to do that because he's not. Again, he's slow to process things, and this is a lot. But like uh, it's a more somber kind of return of affection.
And she does kind of just squeeze, and I really am sorry for letting you think I died. I didn't mean that. I scared a lot of people with getting myself kidnapped like a fucking idiot. I'm really sorry. I'm
Uh,
glad to see you're doing all right, though.
hey, that's a. I don't. Hold on. Give me a minute to think. Uh, First of all, I don't think getting kidnapped is something to apologize for, but that's just my thoughts on it. Um, Regardless of how it happens, I don't think that's something that the kidnappee question mark. I think that's the correct word. Uh,
It's one word you can use.
I don't think that's something that you should apologize for because, like, I don't think, regardless of how it happens, I don't think it's really in your control.
Mhm. So everyone
So,
keeps telling me, but
I
it
mean,
had a negative effect on the people I care about, like you and like Lynn and like my dad. So
I mean,
regardless of whether or not it was my fault, I'm sorry that it hurt you.
kid, I don't know if you noticed, but anybody getting kidnapped is gonna hurt the people that love the person who's being kidnapped. I don't think that's something that can be avoided or that should be apologized for. If anything, I'm sorry that I wasn't really. I didn't. Uh,
You thought I was dying and you're valid. I did kind of, shall we say, go out with a bang.
I'm used to death, kid. It's not. It's the same as everything else in my life. It's same shit, different day.
Hmm.
And you can roll an insight on that, and I will give you advantage on that as well.
Absolutely. No, not plus and. We'll take the 22.
uh, well, he's. It's hard to explain that. Yeah, he's definitely used to death, and perhaps he's more familiar with it in different aspects than he probably should be, but the way that he speaks makes it seem like he's not bothered when it comes to what happened with Lethe, but there is that underlying tone that he was bothered by what happened to Lethe, but he doesn't. It's not. Hmm. He's used to death, and he doesn't blame anybody, for dying or anything like that. But it still bothers him.
Hmm. Well, loss will bother anyone. Mm, Lethe doesn't really have a response for that, so she just hug.
It. I think you've probably seen him react to other people dying, Lethe. It doesn't usually bother him. Just seeing a random
Hmm.
person die, or even talking about him if he had died, he doesn't fucking care.
Hmm. Which she doesn't like, but go off.
God, he knows that he should be bothered by both of those things, but he's not, unfortunately. But when it came to what happened with Lethe, that did in fact bother him, and he's, yeah, there is an underlying thing of he's never once said it, but he does care about you. And
She
that's,
cares right the fuck back.
yeah, that's the difference between him and himself, and him and, a random ass fucking person, and him and someone he cares about. He doesn't give a shit if he dies. He doesn't give a shit if a random ass person dies. But if someone he cares about dies, then yeah, no, he's bothered by that.
Mm. Um, Gibbs, it is suddenly a little bit darker where you are because Lethe has scooped you, and now you are being wrapped up in a pair of feathery black wings.
Uh, we're huggy today, aren't we?
Mm, listen, I take hugs where I can get them. Also, you're very hug-shaped.
uh, alright.
Is this okay? Do you
I
want me to
don't,
put you down?
I don't fucking care.
Hmm. Oh, I forgot. There's something I wanted to ask you.
What up?
Okay, so I know I never actually got to ask you before at the courtroom because I just went with what was in your file and that said that your pronouns were he him. Um
Alright.
But I've noticed when we speak in Echo, you don't sound masculine. You're you've got a very neutral tone. So are you like what are your preferred pronouns? Are you they them, it's, neo pronouns? I wanna do better. I wanna make sure that I'm using what'll make you most happy.
Uh, fucking, I don't really care. I just go with whatever people perceive me as. It's never really. When you live for as long as I have, kid, it doesn't really matter.
Yes, it does.
I mean,
I mean, it might not be, life or death vitally important, but having, from what I've heard at least, having your preferred pronouns respected it makes people happy, and you're my friend. I want you to be happy.
fucking hell, you're just like them. The two of them. There's no way to get out of this. I'm gonna. Oh, okay. Uh. Mm, it's.
Noted.
God fucking damn it. Hold on.
Puppers. Nobody loves you and your mother is disappointed.
Hello!
Hooray!
Ah, yes, I'm fine. Dog is just loud, and then everything is starting to lag, which is wonderful. But should be good.
E.
Alrighty. But yep, uh, it prefers its pronouns.
And Lethe just cheerfully nods and says, "All right, noted. Thank you."
Sure. Um, yours,
I mean, everyone just calls me she, her, so yeah, that fits.
kid. I think you just told me that that's not.
You actually have a preference.
You mean to tell me that you don't?
Not that I know of.
Have you ever thought about it?
Not particularly. Never really had a reason to.
You don't ever really need a reason to think about your gender, but
I don't really understand the whole gender thing. No one's ever sat down and explained it to me, and honestly, it seems so complicated.
gender is a social construct and it's completely bullshit. You're not wrong. However, it's still something that I can't believe I'm gonna fucking say this. I think it's fucking important to teach kids. They have an option to choose their gender. They have an option to fuck around and find out when it comes to their gender.
You just
Uh,
get a head tilt.
how the fuck do I actually explain this? Kid, you can be whatever gender that you fucking think fits best. Like, and you don't
I know
even have to
that.
keep the name that you have. Like, but are you applying that to you?
Mm, no, I didn't.
Surprise, surprise, kiddo. You should. You should apply that to the you.
I haven't ever applied it to the me because I haven't ever considered it necessary. I mean, I don't know. I just showed up, man. I just showed up. They started calling me she, her. I fucking went with it.
You think maybe now might be a good time to think about it? I mean, you don't have to. You don't have to change anything if you don't want to. Is the thing. If you think she, her fits, then go off. But you never know, man. It might not, and
How do you tell what fits?
okay. Um.
I will note that she does just kind of sit Gibbs down, or set him down on the ground, and then, like, kind of. This is conversation time, but also she needs something to do with her hands, so she is going to, um, like, while they're having this conversation, she does, like, go over to the jewelry making desk and pick up some wires and beads and glass and whatnot and start fiddling with them.
When you set Gibbs down, it kind of slinks down onto its back because, oh god, fuck, how it's using its brain, which takes energy, which it's got low of.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus. um, and it's thinking how to explain how you know. And it's so whenever you kind of think or get whenever somebody says or refers to you as she or her or Lethe, you ever get like this weird kind of not necessarily a pit somewhere, but I guess a slight twitch that and doesn't really fit. Doesn't have to be big or anything. Just
Mm. Well, yeah, but I always thought that was more of a translation thing than anything. I mean, and she does kind of frustratedly twist the wires in her hand. I don't know, most words people use to refer to me don't feel right. I I always just assumed it's 'cause, you know, I speak Echo, not Common. And Echo
man,
is
I speak
different.
Kove, not common.
It's it's different. Echo names aren't like common names. They change. They shift. They're fluid. They perfectly suit whoever they're made for, or whoever they are meant to represent, because they're in lockstep with a person's character development. Sure, my Echo name has changed a lot. God, especially over the last month or so, it's changed significantly. But I always assumed that, nothing's ever going to sit right or fit well because it's just bad translation. I mean,
No, kid. I mean, translation is an issue, but I think that's a whole separate issue in and of itself. As someone who is been everything, done everything, and been all sorts of shit. It's not just a translation issue, kid. Uh, I don't really know exactly how to explain it, but I'll explain it like this. And if you entertain me just for a second, let's do an experiment. If you want.
Sure.
Alright, I'm gonna refer to you with different pronouns that I can think of, and I don't know all of them, so I'm gonna be entirely honest with you. Might be a little bit selective because I don't fucking know all of them. But I'm gonna try. And when you get in your head what feels like, in the loosest terms that I can describe, a ping of some form of joy in any capacity, of a positive emotion, I guess is a better way of putting it, like a spike of a positive emotion. We pause and we fuck around with that for a bit. Alright?
Okay.
Alright, Lethe, my dear friend, person that I know, she is great and super smart and shit. And he pauses. He gives her a minute. Or it pauses and gives her a minute.
She shrugs at it, just,
Alright. It's been a good bit since I've seen my good dude, Lethe. It's nice to see him again.
that actually gets a sharp blink.
Alright. It does pause for a moment.
You can roll insight if you like.
I'm a roll insight. Give me a second. I'm laying down to get into the mood of where, like, the vibes of what it's, kind of doing at the moment. It's a nat fucking one. God damn it, Gibbs.
I will give you advantage because these two are friends.
That's a 12! Give me your secrets, Lethe.
You know what? 12 definitely does probably work at this point because she's not being like secretive. That's just the surprised blink of that is different. That's different and not bad. I like that. Huh? Huh? Question mark?
Alright, so we're pausing here and we're gonna fuck around with that. How about that?
Okay. I genuinely can't tell if it's I genuinely can't tell if it's just weird hearing someone not use she, her to refer to me, or if I actually do like those, but I'm
That's why we
willing
fuck
to,
around with it.
yeah, as you said, fuck around away.
uh. Fuck, hold on. I gotta think, because it's been centuries since I've actually fucked around with gender. And this isn't even my gender. You know what? You got a mirror in here, don't you? Or no?
No. No, I don't do mirrors.
Fair enough, neither do I. Uh, Try referring to yourself with he, him pronouns.
I Gibbs, that would require talking in the third person. And she does kind of sit down, and she is gonna, like, think for a minute. And then, a fun fact for Gibbs is that Lethe has actually figured out how to take Echo and turn it into a quote unquote verbal language. It's not verbal, but you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And she kind of sits down crisscross applesauce, cocks her head, thinks, and tries. There's not really an equivalent to it in common. Basically, it's sounding out her own name, but the tone of it is different. Um, because before it is, well, a feminine name, Lethologica Beckford, in the form of Lethe, in the form of, you know, feminine associations. I can't really explain it because the imagery is all the same from one version or another, but you know that whole thing about how it's really complicated to tell what makes someone a man versus what makes someone a woman?
Yeah.
It's that. It's just she switches the tone from masculine to from feminine to masculine, and there is no real way to translate that. But she says it, and then she blinks, and then he smiles and says it again, and there's just, you know, the Ghibli floof.
Yeah.
His wings are doing the Ghibli floof.
There we go. See, that kiddo is what we call gender euphoria.
There's just a delighted trill. It sounds, you know how, like, sometimes different birds will make this trilling, chirping sound when they're happy or excited? It's that.
Yes, I do. Just a second. I'm so sorry.
You're good.
Did it, did it. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. I'm back.
Hello.
But I hold Lethe soft.
He's just delightedly fucking trilling as he's saying this over and over again. And it shifts in little ways as he says it. Like, different sounds change. The music box sound becomes less prominent and is replaced more with sort of the, you know, the crackle of dead air on a on a phonograph?
Yeah.
That replaces the sort of music box sound in his name. The rain gets heavier and sounds more like you're standing under a bridge under heavy rain than standing inside a building during heavy rain. And he's just very delightedly sounding this out.
This is why we fuck around with gender. This is why it's important, because you never know until you actually try. Or at least I think so. But then again, I don't know how worth my thoughts are, so.
Okay, first off, your thoughts are always important and worth listening to because we value everyone's perspective, and I am inclined to agree with you because, ah,
Alright, so. Ignoring that first part. Uh, Lovingly, I think. I don't know. But him seems to work pretty damn well for you.
apparently, that is surprising. I like that. I actually
I
really like that.
don't find it all that surprising. You don't know until you try and fuck around and find out.
Hmm. True enough, I guess.
You don't
I'm just.
know until you know, kid.
Hmm. Hmm. And he does just kind of like get up from where he was sitting on the jewelry making bench and just flop down on the ground next to Gibbs. I will note, the ground here is very soft.
Eh, Gibbs can't tell the difference. It's just vibing.
Like, it's hardwood floors, but also you can just casually flop down and be fine. Toon logic.
Is Lethe's hair long still?
No, this is after his FPS with Lynn, so his hair is kind of cut off, basically in sort of a feathered bob hairstyle.
Mm. I'd offer to cut your hair for you, but you seem to have already got that covered.
Oh, yeah, Lynn took care of it for me. He kind of laughs and runs his hand through it. Um, I didn't like having it touching me all the time.
Fair enough. Gotta be entirely honest. I don't miss having my hair. I think the only thing I missed about having long hair was being able to tie my ribbon in it.
That
Speaking of
does get a
ribbons.
curious head tilt.
Speaking of ribbons, fuck me. I don't have my hammer with me. I don't think I even put it in my hammer. Did I put it in my hammer? God, Gibbs. It doesn't remember where it put the ribbon that it's talking about at the current moment. And Lethe, he can see the ribbon around around its neck, the orange to pink one with a silver border. Um, that doesn't seem to be the one that it's talking about.
No.
It's patting its body. Remembering that it has a duck in its vest and being like, oh, giving the duck a gentle pat of like, oh shit, I almost forgot that you were there.
The duck gives a very gives a very surprised little quack.
it can't find whatever it's looking for. I'm gonna roll with advantage. That's an 11. Alright. Eventually, it manages to figure out where the fuck it put the ribbon that it was talking about. And, he sees, if Discord will let me pull it up. Ah, yes, Discord, please, by all means, take your sweet time. Art. Finished art. Halloween Town. Thank you. It sees a kind of yellowish, or he sees a kind of yellowish, green ribbon with a black border and kind of purple. faded tip get pulled out of its vest from a pocket on the inside of it, on the other opposite side of the duck. And
I will note, just as sort of a joke thing, can I say, as a joke thing, the duck does kind of like try to nose at the ribbon as he pulls it out, or as Gibbs pulls it out.
Gibbs will gently like try and keep the duck's nose away from the ribbon and kind of mutter to it, it's not for you. I'm sorry, I'll get you one later. You'll get your own later. This is his. And as he's handing it over, or as it's handing it over to him, the purple color turns to pink.
And he will accept that. And he looks it over and says, "Oh, this is pretty. Thank you. Do the colors have significance, or?"
Uh, I mean the base color of the fucking the greenish yellow is honestly just the person's eye color. But the other two colors, yeah.
You.
Remember how I said you have a better memory than I do? I don't remember if I actually said anything about it, but I'm not. Uh, the language that I speak natively is called Kove.
I remember that. Yes.
Um, yeah, it's color plays a big part in the language.
Thank you.
I can give you a basic rundown of the colors if you want. Um,
If you'd like to, I certainly wouldn't mind.
yeah, I don't fucking care. Give me just a moment. Because they have been updated. And here it is. So basically, um, Lethe's relationship ribbon
Mm-hmm.
is platonic because of the black border.
Mm-hmm.
And what Gibbs feels towards him at the current moment is, um, in a sense, what can be described as maybe not parental affection,
Mm-hmm.
but it's different than um, platonic. It is that of an older person towards a child. It can be seen as mentor esque, but that's usually brown. So this is
Mm-hmm.
one of a more playful type.
Mm-hmm.
It's more
It's
like
an
an,
intergenerational friendship.
yeah. It can be perceived as like a grandparent or an uncle or something like that.
Mm-hmm. And he does kind of smile at that and thinks for a minute, then very carefully ties it around his wrist, tucking the ends in so they won't get snagged, so that, if he's working on a project, he can just pull his gloves over it and it'll be safe.
If you would you like to roll Arcana?
Absolutely. Where is Arcana? What is your Arcana? Oh, your Arcana is +6. You're actually really good at that. Makes sense. You ate an entire library. That's an 8.
8. All right. Well, you know
It
what? That
makes
makes
sense. This
sense.
is not this world's magic.
Yeah, I was about to say this feels very different. Um, really weirdly foreign. Definitely not from this world. Definitely not magic from this world. Um, so that makes sense. I can't do anything with an 8, unfortunately, but it is
Mm-hmm.
magical. He would know that.
Mm-hmm. And he does kind of just hum softly at that, but he appreciates this, and he smiles at Gibbs.
Gibbs just kind of is a little bit awkward because just like, all right, I did that. That's done now. Fuck. It explains to him. Um, Usually you wear those in your hair, but well, I don't have hair, and your hair is too short, so you can wear it wherever you want. I don't, I don't fucking care. Should be fine. There's not really a lot that can actually destroy that damn thing.
Good to know.
Uh, Stains don't usually last for more than an hour on it. Washing it helps make it quicker, but you know.
Mm-hmm. I'll take very good care of it.
I'm sure you will.
He smiles, and he kind of, like, the way he's sitting, he's kind of got his knees propped up, and he kind of crosses his arms on top of his knees and rests his chin on top of his arms and thinks for a hot minute.
Gibbs is quiet. It uh it doesn't really talk much, honestly.
Hmm. After a minute, he does kind of blink and look over at Gibbs and say, "Do you think? Hmm. Do you know what the word lethologica means?"
No. I have no idea.
It's it's a term for the feeling when you know a word, but the moment you need it, it escapes you.
Mm,
For when you know what you want to say, but you don't have the words to say it, it sticks in your throat and won't come out. That's that's lethologica.
sounds like the story of my fucking life.
There's some truth to that. He kind of laughs and then kind of looks at the looks at the room around you guys. I don't I don't think I'm lethologica. I At the very least, I don't want that to be my word. I Common is weird, verbal languages are weird. Echo
Yeah,
names, echo names, they just they're not words. They're collections of sensations and ideas and concepts and stories that make a person. It's my Echo name fits me perfectly, and Lethologica is. I mean, sure, that was what I was when I first showed up, but I don't think that's me. You think?
Um, I mean, you can change it to whatever you want.
Hmm. He
No
kind of
one's
thinks for
stopping
a
you.
minute. He kind of thinks for a minute and laughs and says, I mean, I know how to do legal name change paperwork. I've helped people do it a couple times. Uh, hmm. I like Memoir.
I mean, if that's what you like, then memoir it is.
Memoir means something that it's a term for a type of writing that holds a memory and shares it as a story with the reader, and that's I like that. That's definitely more, if not who I am right now, then who I want to be. I think, yeah, I think I'm Memoir.
All that helps me better figure out your Kobe name if you wanted to know what that would be.
Oh? And he does tilt his head at that because, ooh, new language. Yes, please.
Hmm. Uh, in a sense, I it'd take me a minute to really figure out. Give me just a moment, everybody. I am writing it down in my little thing of names.
Babble has a book of names.
I have a fucking list of names, and I sit here and I hold it soft.
Mm-hmm.
Base colors. God, what the fuck was the base color for that one? I think it was orange. Is it orange? I'm gonna upload Gibbs's uh, name.
Hmm.
Here for a second. That's Lethe's. That's retrospect. Lethe's is actually changed now
Mm-hmm.
because of Memoir. And I actually really hold that soft because it's similar to Gibbs's name. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
okay, so it is. It is a combination. Orange and brass. Or actually, no, orange and copper. Alright. So, this is what it would be if it said it. If it said his name in Kobe. So, your name in Kobe would be Yamori.
Oh.
And in loose essence, from what I understand of this world's common, that basically translates to memoir. And it it pulls out, or well, actually no, it does not pull out. It starts. Fuck. it asks him for a pencil or something to write with and a piece of paper.
And Lethe, or nope, not Lethe, Memoir will reach into hammer space. Let's roll a d10. Memoir reaches into his hammer space and pulls out um a sketchbook and a little case inside which is a bunch of different kinds of charcoal pencils.
Alright. Fuck yeah. Uh, it takes an orange one. A sort of kind of yellowy orange instead of like the orange that you see in the deer track, and it draws that same deer track.
Mm-hmm.
And then it draws that same cog in the second one in a kind of copper color. And it explains to Memoir. Loosely speaking, this basically means memoir in common. The deer tracks can mean anything from history to memory to shit like that. And well, I gesture at cogs and gears and shit as just seems to kind of be your thing.
And he kind of laughs and rolls up the sleeve of his shirt, revealing the actual tattoo of a gear that's etched around the edge of his shoulder. You could say they're a bit of a motif.
Yeah. That's also kind of heavily associated where I'm from with memory and recording and shit like that. Loosely speaking, that this is basically memoir. And the colors that we choose for the symbols changes the meaning. And it grabs a different orange, a more like just plain orange.
Mm-hmm.
And it draws the deer track again on a somewhere else on the paper, and then underneath it draw in a kind of fire engine red. Draws those wind symbols.
Mm-hmm.
And it explains to him, this is my name in Kove.
Oh.
How you would say it verbally in Kove is, you cry. It essentially means history maker.
Fitting, from what I know of you.
Huh. Funny fact, if I were to draw this in... And give me a second. In... God, let me find it. Something absolutely fucking hilarious. If I were to write this entirely in gold or yellow, it would basically mean God Killer.
Oh, that is simultaneously badass and terrifying.
If I wrote this entirely in pink, you want to know what it'd be?
Sure.
Deity Chaos Child.
goodness. Well, I mean, you do throw exploding lemons at people.
Uh, in green, I am the king's most beloved jester. uh,
You know, I think you'd look good in bells.
don't tempt me. With Jacques's Cove name, that could be quite literal. I might actually be his jester. Or their jester.
Lethe or Memoir actually does like reach into his hammer space and pull out a couple small golden bells or brass bells and start affixing them to whatever the hell he's making.
uh, but I don't know. I find that memoir kind of really fits. Yeah.
Thank you.
If you want your name, and it hands him it kind of like puts down the piece of paper and slides back over the colored charcoals to memoir.
And he accepts it and puts it back in his pocket. Mm. He does look at the piece of paper and he smiles and says, "Would you like to see how your name looks in Echo?"
Sure.
And all right, let's grab this. He reaches into hammer space, pulls out a notebook this time, like an actual bound leather notebook. And uh checks the symbol on the front, uh nods to himself, um, in noticing that it is in fact blank, uh, and he flips it open. Um, and he starts to inside there is like just a fountain pen waiting to be used. Um, and he flips it open and starts to draw. Uh, First there's a big circle in the middle, which he thinks for a minute before filling in with what color should I use for Gibbs? I think I've used pale blue for Gibbs before, so we're gonna use that. That shade of blue is Phasmus, so we're gonna go with more of a royal blue. Um, he fills that in with the circle in the middle in with pale blue. Um, and then uses and then thinks for a minute, puts a smaller circle under the main one. Um, Actually puts a couple different smaller circles under the main one. And then let's see. Gives his defining terms. Friend, traveler, client, or no. Friend, traveler. I think friend and traveler are the two main ones. Gibbs has a very simple name in Lethe's opinion.
It is indeed a very simple person.
And sorry, I am actually drawing it in real time as we're talking.
Oh god, I gently pat you.
Um, and then she starts drawing lines connecting those things. Um, and as he, not she, misgendering my bird. Um, as he like as he works on it, as he draws, he explains that okay, these ones are people that you're connected to. So see this one down here, that's this green color, this one's me. Um, this one over here is uh Mr. Ash. Um, whereas this one is Mayor Macabre. And then this one here, this is the town herself.
Hmm.
Um, I've heard people refer to her as Kara.
Uh,
Um,
so have I. Um, seen a kid running around. Uh, with the doll version of the town that I don't know, man. It's fucking wild. Then
yeah,
again, though, I don't question it really.
it's Toon stuff. You get used to it.
D- Fucking tune in general. What? Kid, this is the first time that I've ever been a tune.
You've been other things before?
I've been everything under the goddamn sun.
Really?
Hmm. Except for a tune. This is the first. So, kid, I am older, I'm pretty sure, than everyone on this planet and the planet itself combined.
That's impressive.
Knowing the context, it's not really.
Mm, well, I know a bit more than you'd think. I still think that's impressive.
Roll me insight.
Absolutely. D20.
Uh, it begs to differ.
Mm-hmm.
With that, you can definitely see it kind of swallow, as if swallowing a very bitter taste in its mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's not at him.
Mm-hmm.
It's at the situation, and that's about all I can really give.
Mm-hmm. And Memoir will kind of hum at that and after a moment of thought just say, if anything, it's impressive that you've lasted this long.
Huh. Yeah. Anyways. Where were we? And
Um,
it asks him that genuinely because it was trying to think of, like, wait, what they were talking about, and then it realizes that it forgot, and so now it's just like, fuck.
and Memoir laughs and shows it the drawing that it's finished. This is a bit clumsy. Usually I would organize it better, but this works for example's sake. So this one here in the middle, this is you in sort of all of your everythingness, sort of all the impressions that I would use to describe you.
Hmm.
Um, and then he tracks his finger up to the first connected empty bubble and says, "This one, this one means traveler. Um, it means you wander a lot, with the connected concepts of, and he will like go through the individual bubbles. Like this one implies that you seem lonely. This one implies that you seem experienced. This one implies that you're a little bit reckless."
And it's not saying anything, but it's paying attention to him.
Mm-hmm. You know, then the second empty bubble. This one means that you're a friend, and these are all the reasons why you're a friend. And then down here, these are the connections that we share that I know of. Um, or the connections that you have that I know of. The orange one here, um, words. The orange one and the purple one here, those ones are Mr. Asclepius and Maya Macabre. This darker purple one over here on the end, this one is the town. And this green one here, this one's me.
Uh, those lines seem pretty straightforward. No pun intended. What's with what's with those two? And or three. I don't. That's three, right? And
uh,
it points to the dotted one and the one with the heart and then the curved one.
well, this one connects Mr. Ash to the town, because he's a part of the town. This one
Mm.
with the heart here, from what I understand, they're married, so
They are
obviously they love
very
each other.
married. they, they are very married. I can tell you that.
And then
Uh,
this dotted line is more of a hesitant connection. I I've interacted with Mr. Ash before, but um not in any degree to be able to connect fully.
mm.
I don't have a relationship with Mr. Ash, as I guess you would put it. Uh, but I know him, I know of him. We've spoken before. One second.
Do 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 do. Yeah.
I know him. I know of him. I've interacted before. He helped me get a lot of poison out of my system. That was helpful. Definitely appreciate that. Not being poisoned is significantly better than being poisoned.
From what I understand, he's pretty damn good at that kind of thing. Isn't that a cleric thing?
Possibly.
I've I've actually never been a cleric. Surprisingly, I've never been anything associated with a god, so I wouldn't know. Um, well, I actually have been once, but that didn't turn out great.
I have never dabbled in clerical arts. I'm a warlock. I'm a warlock, and I intend to stay that way.
I've only ever been one of those once. I don't ever intend to be one again. It was not.
Enti- Entirely fair.
I'm sure that whatever you got going on is great, and I respect you dearly. Oh, thanks.
Yeah, no, my situation is special circumstances. Um,
Huh.
but this is the you. It's kind of hard to read this way, admittedly. You're supposed to, and Memoir will just kind of show how you're supposed to like set your finger against the middle bubble and then trace your way across to read the different words.
Mhm.
Because the different lines represent different kinds of connections, whereas the different bubbles represent different concepts.
Hmm.
So, for example, if you were to trace the line from Gibbs to Lethe, it would be um, friend of. Whereas um, if you were to trace the line between Gibbs and the Spooks, it would be something like, from them to him, guardian of, from him to them, ward of,
Mhm.
that sort of thing.
Yee. I'm sitting here realizing that they both know Lynn, and Gibbs just isn't saying anything because I don't think it's on its mind at the moment.
Nope. Hmm. And Memoir will kind of smile and flip to the sort of flip to an earlier page in that notebook and show Gibbs his own name as it's written. Where did I put it? Name. Spaghettified mess. Um, Memoir, where is your spaghetti mess of a name?
Listen, we love the spaghetti mess.
It's a spaghetti mess. I love it. It's a spaghetti mess. Um, God, there it is. Fuck, finally. And he opens the book and shows Gibbs a different one.
Oh, Jesus. It's looking at that, and there's like a blink, and it immediately is just like, holy fuck. It doesn't say anything, but it is looking at that and just being like, oh, alright. Damn.
It it's a bit of a spaghetti mess.
I. You know what? You're saying exactly what I'm thinking. But it's also not really one to judge.
Writing your own name in Echo means uh, it's more complicated than writing someone else's name. Because you're not just writing your associations with the person, you're also writing all of your connections, all of the personality traits that you think are important to what makes you yourself. It's a mess.
You know yourself better than I really know myself, so.
Well, I've got less material to work with.
You would think having more would make it easier.
God, no. If eating an entire library has taught me anything, it's that having more material just makes organization a mess.
You think just the organization is a mess. Ah, God, I've been told before that living as long as I did should make me wiser. Nah, nah, that is not how that works. Alright, I'm well aware of the fact that I'm fucking stupid.
Memoir will laugh at that. Well, you're reckless and a bit of a disaster.
I'm very much a disaster, thank you. Thank you for pointing out the obvious.
You're reckless and a bit of a disaster, but I think you're smarter than you give yourself credit for in some ways that really count.
Hmm. Uh, but it points at the at Memoir's name as if gesturing to explain.
And I am not going through all of those little points, so I will just like fan twirl. Memoir explains like, yeah, this is what this one means. The three main points, friend, restorationist, lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
These are all the people that I know so far, etc.
Yeah. We hold gentle.
Well, he will point out, this is one thing he will point out. There are a couple different ones on there. These ones are for the friends I know, but don't know from this timeline. Haven't met yet, if that makes sense.
I'm gonna be real with you, Chief. I don't. But also, I don't really know enough to question it, so. Like with
Trust me, it's
everything, I
not
just shrug and roll with it.
worth the headache.
Fair enough. I mean. With
And Memoir
what you
kind of just
explained, there are a few that I would probably put on to mine, but they're also not here, so to speak, you could say.
mm,
I mean, even if they were, they're not here, and it gestures at the. It does the kind of little like finger or claw twirl beside its head, as if gesturing at the whole world.
mhm. Memoir nods and then kind of sighs and flops backward onto the ground. I'm glad I got to talk to you again.
And there's an awkward pat against his arm. It's trying to say without saying it that it feels the same, basically. And there's definitely a face that matches it, and it's just like, yep, awkward, but you know what? I'm trying.
Memoir kind of laughs at that. And honestly, I've got nothing else to do with this FPS. Do we want to end there?
We could, yeah. We
All
could end
right.
with them just kind of vibing, laying down against each other, like against the floor side by side.
It's that whole thing of, oh, you got punched so hard you passed out, so I laid down next to you so people would think we were chilling.
Been punching each
We
other in
conver
the emotions. God fucking damn it. You know what?
we
That's a perfect
conversation
time to end it.
we conversation so hard that we passed out and now we're just laying on the ground chilling. Oh, thank you so much for playing with me, Babble. Thank you so much for listening, listeners in the future. Love you guys. Bye.
Bye, everybody. Love ya.